Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and I wanted to bring you my thoughts on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Just saw it today, Memorial Day, with my whole family. Last night, we actually watched the one before this, which I think is Dead Reckoning. I think that's what it was called. I'd seen it before, the rest of the family had not, and so my wife and I decided this would be sort of a good day to get out and go see a movie because we were all home and off and all of that. So these movies I appreciate because of their stunt work more than anything else. The action is good. They're very, I don't know, kind of James Bondish, in the way that they're sort of outlined with all these sort of world defining or world changing things that are transpiring in the background, the cloak and dagger, espionage type of stuff. But just in a nutshell, what this really is all about, if you saw part one, this is a continuation of that, the most recent movie, which I think came out in 2023. There is an AI that has sort of spun up into this unintended thing that is starting to take over defense systems around the world. And of course, Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, is the only person capable of stopping this thing. And really, what this is one sort of set action piece connected to another with this plot sort of carrying things through. And so, if you saw the first movie, you probably have a good sense of how this is going to play out, how it's going to end. And it does exactly what you would think it does in terms of the story. If I had to ding this for anything, I would say that these movies frequently are a little too self-serious, and that's the case here. I think there are times where there's just a lot of sort of, I don't know, ponderous dialogue about the end of the world and the fate of humans and that kind of stuff. And like, I get it. It's like a big thing that's happening. They're trying to add a lot of gravitas and weight to it, but it just starts to be a little bit much. I think this actually could have done with more levity. There's like not a lot of that in it. Not to say that what's there doesn't work in terms of the humor. It's just, I don't know. It felt like some of the previous Mission Impossible movies were a little bit better than that. Even Dead Reckoning, the one before this, some of the sequences where they're in the little yellow car driving through Rome, like that part, there were humorous parts to that, and it was a little bit more engaging in that way. However, that's not to say that this movie was not a fun time. I did have a great time with it, and I'm not going to spoil the plot, but I think in terms of action sequences, there's one, and again, a little bit of a spoiler here. So if you haven't seen the trailer, even, then you'll probably want to sort of step away from this and then come back after you've seen the film. But there's a sequence in a downed Russian submarine, which again, that's connected to the events of the first movie or the most recent movie. And the way that they set up the set for that is just incredible. Like, it really is amazing the way that it's rolling alongside of an underwater cliff, and the way the water sort of moves inside the sub while Ethan Hunt is in there trying to retrieve this source code for this entity AI algorithm so he can stop it. All of that stuff was super cool, and it's really claustrophobic. In fact, I would say if you don't do well with tight spaces, it's one of those things that makes you hold your breath a little bit. Some of the stuff in that reminded me of that film that I just saw not long ago called I think it was called Last Breath. It's got Woody Harrelson in it, and that's based on a true story. But anyway, there was one sequence at the tail end of the sub scene that made me roll my eyes. Like the whole movie, and really all these movies, you go in knowing that you're going to suspend believability. But there was one that stretched it so far that I was like, why did you spend so much time talking about the consequences of doing these things and then have this happen and then it not really be that big of a deal at all? So if you see the movie, you see the submarine scene, especially at the end of that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I just remember looking around, having seen it a couple of hours ago in theaters. My wife was looking at me. I was like, there's just no way. There's no way he's making it out of that. But anyway, the other big thing that has been sort of teased in the marketing for this is sort of an airplane stunt chase sequence where Tom Cruise is on an airplane, clearly in real life. It's, doing barrel rolls, all kinds of stuff is happening. All of that was super cool. I would say the rest of it is beat for beat, kind of what you would expect with a Mission Impossible movie. It does have a conclusion to it, but it leaves the door open potentially for something down the road, maybe, but probably not. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends from a box office perspective, how well it does, and I'm sure it'll do well. Again, it was entertaining. At 2 hours and 40 something minutes, it maybe felt a little bit too long at times. Looking back on it, there probably are some sequences that could have been trimmed by a couple of minutes here and there, or just a minute, 30 seconds here or there, just to make it a little bit more tightly edited, a little bit more of an efficient viewing experience. But what I will say is this, Tom Cruise, even though I think sometimes he's a little bit out there, I appreciate that he is an advocate for seeing a movie in theaters. I appreciate that he throws so much effort into making these movies. There was even a message before the movie started from him directly, just thanking audiences for coming and all that. This felt like an event film, right? Like seeing it in a theater, it felt like it was made for that. And I appreciate having that experience with my family. And so while there were some, eye roll inducing moments in the film, I still think it was a really great spectacle piece of cinema, and I appreciate it for what it is. So Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the most recent and presumably last, I don't know, Mission Impossible movie. But if you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching.